thanks for checking out my channel. I'm going to have a look at a couple of markets midweek just to see where we are and where we are with our various plans, starting with the euro and US dollar. So I've kept accumulating short position on that pair. Alongside that trend line we're having here on the daily chart, we broke the uptrend trend line on the RSI here as well, and now we are sitting spot on the 20 MA, so we could expect some support to come here. If we zoom a little bit closer here on the 1 hour, we can see that we did have a nice bear flag developing here that did break down. Now we are looking at the target, which is on trend line at 118, and this should actually be potentially the end for that swing. As we can see here, we have some divergence on the 1 hour that's calling for a move back up and retest potentially to the 119. So moving forward, I believe that we are continuing to see some selling pressure on that pair, mainly because of that divergence, and that we need to clear it up before it could actually make an attempt to break higher. The first target is 115, and yes, that will come after we break that rising wedge here. The divergence is actually sitting on the clearance in that area, so when we'll get to that point, we'll feel a bit more comfortable getting back to the precious metals and other commodities and going long, as the pressure on the upside from the US dollar will be mainly or at least removed partially. Moving on, crude oil also quite key today, as we got a major breakdown here on that rising wedge. Don't have position yet, as I'm still waiting to see if we get any follow through. We got some relatively bullish inventory report today, so don't really understand why we did actually break down, apart from the US dollar strengthening, but that seems to be quite a sell-off just for that reason. I will wait and see if we don't actually get back inside that channel once again, potentially extending the wedge a little bit lower. It would make it a little bit, I don't know, less relevant since we had less touches, but I'm a little bit cautious calling this the proper breakdown yet and take position short. I think at 41.3 we're going to see some buying pressure. I'll be watching this. Should we break that level 41 convincingly with some nice closure, I believe the daily could be of some help here. That could be a little bit more convincing to actually enter shorts to ride that swing down to 34, which is still a target. Moving to natural gas. Natural gas been moving a little bit as expected, also did push actually a bit higher than what I was thinking, 2.7, so I built short position on that first divergence we got here. That's on the 4 hours, building on 265, and then put another one on the 271, and then sold on the gap closure. I'll be waiting now to see what we are going to do. So we're definitely out of that channel, so I believe we're not going down and much lower. On the daily, I believe there's some wrong numbers in there, but if you zoom actually out on the 4 hours, you can see the origin here is pointing to 2.15. I believe we are going there and potentially push down lower to 1.9. Still a target, but careful with the entry point, as we're still very volatile until we get out of that tropical storms season. Potentially we can move alongside that trend line a little bit further, revisiting 2.6. That could be a bit of a safer entry point for short position, so I'll be watching this. Should we actually break the 2.45 convincingly, then we could actually take position on the short side to actually go and target the 2.3 and then 2.15. Moving to silver, also quite interesting move today. Together with the USD, we've seen some significant sell-off on the back here. That's on the 1 hour of that major divergence we're still having here. I'm still very cautious buying silver here, even if we're accumulating in some sort of an ascending triangle here. So we could have an entry point at 27.4, sorry, but still the divergence not properly cleared up here, down to 21.6. So the potential fall is still significant versus the actually move up. So I'll be waiting and see. We could have some bounce back from that level. 27.4 should be strong enough, but it will be struggling to break above 28.4. So the risk reward ratio is not so good for that trade. So I'll stay on the sideline for now on silver, together with gold and platinum, as I believe there's more downside possible on these assets. And finally, looking at Bitcoin, so we got some nice sell-off today, still inside that triangle, but also having that issue. So that's on the daily with the divergence that's still calling to meet with that trend line here, which is sitting at 11k. So I'll be waiting for buying signal on that level, as potentially we could still break down and visit 10,300. That would actually clear up the divergence a little bit better, and be really safe to continue accumulating under that major 13k. That's the major resistance we're going to see in the coming days. Potentially breakouts end of October, so we're still having some time to build up that position, but definitely first entry point 11k sounds quite interesting, and of course 10k will be even better for another entry long for positioning for the breakout. So yeah, that's about it for today. I hope you had a successful week so far. We'll have a look again at a couple of markets over the weekend, into more details, and see how we go. Until then, wish you safe trading and speak to you soon. Bye.